Welcome back to Talking Shit, where we are talking all sorts of shit. Schitt's Creek, that is. Today, we are talking about Season 6, Episode 7, Moira Rosé. And of course, I'm not alone. I am joined by someone who could always go for some za. Stuart! Stuart, how are you?
Could I always go for some za?
Couldn't you?
I don't know. Maybe go for some. Not if it's called za. I disagree with za being.
Of course you do, as any normal person would. But the thing is if it's like, I don't care if it's 7 a.m., 3 a.m., 2 p.m. If someone's offering me pizza, I'm taking the pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair point. Yeah. But yeah, I just object to it ever being called za.
Yeah. As you should.
What's wrong with Johnny? What is wrong with him?
He's just a little awkward baby. Leave him be, okay? He's just a little awkward. But of course, we're not alone. We've brought in our own designated grape, Melissa.
Hey, I'm just, out here finishing my shopping cart for my Lulu Limes.
The amount of citrus references this episode was really funny.
Yeah.
A man named Citrus. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy you're here to talk about this episode because it is not only one of my favorites of season 6, but I'm pretty sure it is one of my favorite episodes of the series. I love this episode so much.
It's so funny because it started and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched the show all the way through. And so I didn't really remember this one standing out. And by the end I was like, wait, that was really lovely. And it sort of caught me off guard. Like it didn't start as something that I thought was super funny, but by the end of it, I really enjoyed it. And it's also very fun because I was on the pod for the original iteration of Ertlinger's wines.
Yes.
So, it felt very full circle. Yeah.
Stuart, what were your general thoughts on this episode? I feel like it has you have a little bit of general thoughts. You have a little bit of funny stuff, a little bit of cute, heartwarming stuff.
I was not as high on this episode as you both, it seems, until my second watch. Second watch had a right at the time. I must have been in a foul mood when I first watched this the first time round. Because when it came out, I was just like, it's just silly. It's just being silly for the sake of being silly. And then the second time, I was like, no, I like the silly. I like the ridiculousness of it. I kind of... on reflection, after I kind of like maybe got out of that mood, I was like, I came away from it kind of positive. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the series, though. I think that's stretch, maybe.
Not the number one, but it is up there. You know what it is? Specifically the winery scenes are some of my favorite scenes in all of Schitt's Creek, because I do think Moira and David as a pair is just like, they're incredible. But on top of that, they weave comedy and heartwarming moments like so well. They're so threaded in there that you can't pick them apart. It is just, again, some of the Moira-isms this episode. And also, Stuart, to call it back to one of our favorite moments from very early on in the series is like the wine metaphors. This show knows how to do a wine metaphor, and it just works.
Yeah.
Does that mean that like banana wine is a metaphor for something?
I would never even attempt a banana wine. It's so gross.
It needs to be like studied though. Like at least there should be a license to like make wine, because banana wine shouldn't be a thing. It probably is a thing. Yeah. I'm going to get shamed for this, but it seems like it shouldn't be a thing.
No. And it's funny because I recently mentioned this on a different podcast for some reason, but I don't know if they did it, if it was meant to be that she was saying this about the banana wine, but the statement that one of the wines tasted like amoxicillin makes so much sense, because in Canada it's banana flavored. And so I was like, absolutely, this is like, this is great. What a fun little Canadian.
Yeah, it's like the amoxicillin for kids. It comes in like this luminous color, taste of banana, and it's just like, core memory of being a kid and like being ill and just being like, that looks radioactive. Get that inside
but
me.
it's not banana flavored in the US. So, every now and then I just like to remind people the show is Canadian, because
What is it flavored like in the US?
Amoxicillin?
Is it like
often
flavored?
I mean, I don't know. Often our medicines are cherry flavored though, so maybe that.
Ugh.
I mean, it all tastes disgusting, truly. Like, I don't know. Whatever. It's like when you go to get.
Did you have Cowpole at all?
I don't know what you just
probably
said.
A UK brand. It's like basically syrupy paracetamol that you can give kids, and they've made it like infinitely less like syrupy, and they've taken all the sugar out of it. But it was like crack. Like seriously, like kids would fake having headaches when they were young because they're like, I just want like some Cowpole, because it was basically a literal like Mary Poppins spoonful of sugar. It was like, and that made medicine go down because it was so sweet, but it was really thick. It was,
we have
recommend
Dime Tap in Canada is like grape flavored, and that was one that I was like, I think I'm sick.
I know our cough medicine a lot of the times was grape flavored. Grape and cherry, I think, are like the two big flavors for medicine, but. Oh, okay. Before we go too far down the rabbit hole, we have to do a quick little recap in case you didn't watch this incredible episode, which really you should, because it's just so funny and great. Let's do a little recap here. Moira and David take a trip back to Herb Ertlinger's winery to do a tasting to determine which flavor of fruit wine will be the signature Moira Rosé. Unfortunately, every single wine they taste is abhorrent, and they get so drunk and waste so much time that Herb cancels the deal, forcing their designated grapes, Johnny and Patrick, to drive them home. Speaking of Johnny and Patrick, Patrick is enjoying a baseball game for a fake baseball team, by the way, or at the very least, a team that my husband had no idea what OT stood for on Patrick's hat. In David's room, due to a fancy Japanese toilet being installed in his apartment that involves taking walls down, Roland prompts Johnny to give Patrick the talk. You know, the talk about don't you hurt my son and, you know, manly men, masculine stuff. With Johnny struggling to get started, Patrick takes the lead, promising to always respect David and protect him from all the things in life that can set him off, which is just so many things. And it's so cute. And I wanted to die. They also bond over baseball or whatever else. Lastly, Alexis convinces Jocelyn, Twyla, Ronnie, and Stevie to join her at Elevation, a workout class that is definitely a cult, run by a joker named Citrus. Thankfully, Alexis figures out Elevation is a cult when they start talking about going through the gateway and battling actual demons. And we end the episode with the cutest little family moment of all of them in the one room. And it's just the best, Stuart.
I think my initial reservations with this episode, and perhaps not finding it as funny, was completely, I think maybe on second watch I appreciated it as a whole, because by the end of that first watch, that final scene I think is enough to warrant it being like hot shit, top tier, everything, because it was everything that I want. It was all of them like being really cozy and being really sweet with each other, and like Moira wanting to get in the sleepover, them teasing Alexis clapping back with the whole like, you're like my twin brothers who kiss, and then they just kiss to creep her out. It was so good. It was a good episode.
Yeah, I'm looking it up frantically, trying to figure it out. It might be a CT for Cafe Tropical on this baseball hat. Just anyway, I'm trying
to. Yeah, because I looked out
like
because it's Garage and Cafe Tropical for like their own ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would
like
make way
colors,
more sense, because I thought it said OT, but then again, like when it's like cursive font, it's a little hard to tell.
It does look like OT though, so yeah, I don't actually.
Yeah, I did ask my husband. He said it could have been a Canadian thing, but then again, like because there's other leagues, but like there's like the Toronto Blue Jays or whatever the heck. Like there are teams that
the Toronto Blue Jays are a team.
Yeah, nailed it. Look at me go, sports. But. Yeah, he was like, I don't know, but I will say, as much as we could say whatever we want about Johnny being a little bit of an awkward bird, he is me with sports. Like, I loved the like, oh, did we get one? Did we? Like, yeah, Johnny's trying. He's a hype guy, he's trying to like bond with Patrick, and it's absolutely adorable. I can't. Like, I don't care if he's a little awkward about it. I think it's so cute. And I also think similarly, Patrick does such a good job of not just like, because he could have just ignored what Johnny was trying to do with talking about David. And he's like, it sounded like you were going to say something. Like, he's really like putting himself
really
out there and prompting him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I think Patrick did like a lot of the kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's because he knows Johnny well enough to know that Johnny is an awkward guy and like sometimes meanders around when he's a bit kind of like, I don't know, feeling the awkwardness a little bit. So he navigated him much like he does with David's emotions and the things that set him off. I think he kind of like navigated that and helped Johnny out there, which is a testament to Patrick being part of the family now, is that he knows how to kind of navigate all of these things. And why I think that he feels that kind of like being part of the family as well and being thankful for being brought in is that now that he kind of recognizes that. So yeah, I thought Patrick did a lot of heavy lifting in that whole scenario, and thank God he did, because it was, we talk about it all the time, and yeah, he's just a bit awkward and it's not his fault sometimes, but come on, Johnny, it shouldn't be that bad, really. It really shouldn't. It makes
I don't know. I just don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. Okay, Melissa, Johnny is not the type of dad who is going to like sit down their child's significant other and be like, now don't you hurt them or I'm gonna have to hurt you. Like, that's not who he is. But I do think he feels a sense of responsibility, especially with this like push from Roland to like not even necessarily have that conversation, but even just have a conversation with Patrick. But I also just feel like he doesn't know how to even start the how do you even bring that up? Because let's be real, he doesn't need to have this conversation. Like, Patrick is never going to hurt David. You know, I just, it's a very like old fashioned thing, right? Where I think Johnny feels like he needs to have this conversation because it's just a thing people do, but he doesn't know how to have this conversation because it's so ridiculous of a conversation to even have.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's not in Johnny's nature to, do this kind of overbear. Like, first of all, like, his children are older, right? This isn't some like, they're not teenagers at this point. I do also think the fact that like this is two men in a relationship just kind of throws off that gender dynamic a little bit, where it like, I don't think it really crossed Johnny's mind to like have to be super protective of David, because David is out there like doing really well and is like a full grown adult and is, you know, I think the bit for me that makes it the most clear is the line that I think I love the most in this episode, although there's a lot in contention for it, but when they're talking about respecting David and Johnny just says, I knew it anyway, like, or I can't remember exactly how he words it, but it's such a sweet moment of like Patrick giving that, like, being the bigger, like being the grown up in the conversation who can like actually initiate that conversation, but Johnny sort of acknowledging like, basically, I didn't bring this up before because I didn't need to, because I already knew based on who you were, which I think is just, first of all, very lovely, but also a bit of like, that should be how it is, right? You shouldn't have to like threaten your child's significant other in order for them to respect your child, right? Like, that's not how that should go anyway.
I feel the same
Johnny's
way.
Like, my part is irrelevant here. I knew that anyway, but it's nice that they had a moment of connection, at least as like future like father-in-law, son-in-law.
Yeah, I feel very similarly to like the like asking your father's permission for like your hand in marriage. It's like it's very antiquated. It's very like, I am not property that is being handed off. Thank you. I can make my own decisions. I'm a full grown adult. And you would never think of doing that with your son now, would you? But I do love that Patrick takes the initiative because he knows that Johnny is reaching out to like connect with him in some way, shape, or form. And I love that Patrick, like, also the body language too, where Patrick is the one who like sits next to Johnny and he says like, I hope it goes without saying, as lucky as I feel to have met David, I also feel incredibly lucky to be joining your family. It is such a beautiful way of putting it because like, I think in in an ideal world, that's what it is. It's a blending of two families. It is like inviting another person into your family. Obviously, that's not always the way it goes, depending on family dynamics and all of that stuff. But that's exactly how it feels. It feels like Patrick is a part of their family. And I think that's also, correct me if I'm wrong, Stuart, what Johnny says to Roland when they have that conversation. It's like, oh, well, he's kind of already like, you know, a member of our he's practically family now, right? Like he already feels like he's a member of that family.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up a point I was just about to make. And what a lovely scene that wouldn't have happened if Roland hadn't told Johnny how to be a good, like, kind of guy in that moment. And if it wasn't for Roland being a creep and peering into David's room to see what was going on, but like making that suggestion, it was like,
he does the like, well, have you told him that? And Johnny's like, well, no.
But and that's the thing that I do give Roland credit for, is I do think it's sort of a lovely idea of like, you should voice to Patrick that in your mind as well, he is part of the family, right? Like he's the one sort of joining. So to get that sort of acceptance and welcome from people other than just David, right? From like other members of his family would mean a lot. And I think, he does it in the most Roland of ways and like absolutely makes it all weird.
Yeah. Like lay down some laws. Uncle Roland's gonna have a talk. Like
exactly. Like he immediately undoes any good grace that I want to give him. Yeah. But I do think just that moment of like, have you told him that? Like just encouraging Johnny to be like, hey, why don't you voice that very lovely sentiment to Patrick himself so that he knows, is like a pretty good piece of advice. So yeah.
And the fact that all three of the people involved in this that we're talking about are men is like really nice. I know, right? Like, right? Like how often are we seeing like men talk about their feelings like on television, you know? Like it's a really nice thing to see. And like, yeah, you can feel a particular way about somebody, but it's rare for a lot of people to like actually vocalize those feelings and thoughts. And I just think it's really nice. Like, I really love their conversation. I really love how Johnny is just trying to connect with Patrick, even though he's not a sports guy. He doesn't really care about baseball.
He's trying so hard.
He's really trying.
Yay. Patrick's like, that's the other team. Yeah.
I love when they high five and then they like hold hands for just a second too long. It's just so sweet. Yeah. I love it. It's adorable. I love it so much. And Patrick is so sweet too. Like he invites him right in. Oh, do you want some pizza? Like he really is like very welcoming. And they're both very welcoming towards each other. And I think sometimes, at least I feel this way, when you are the younger person, like it's your in-law, so they're older, they kind of have the like authority, right?
Yeah, they're still kind of like grown up in the situation no matter how old you are.
Yes, it's harder to like take charge in that scenario, and I appreciate that Patrick is very willing to be like, hey, come in, sit down, you know?
Yeah, especially considering it's almost like got a slight vibe of like being over your friend's house for a sleepover, because there's like the whole thing of like, you don't live there, so you're inviting them to sit down with you in what's
their house,
fundamentally their space. I mean, like it's not only like where Johnny and Nat live, it's like Johnny owns the place, so like really, so for Patrick to feel that sense of, I guess, confidence and assuredness to be able to say, oh yeah, feel free to join me, kind of thing, and to be welcoming like that, it's a big deal, I think.
Yeah, it's such a lovely part of this episode that all throughout, and basically like, from each of the roses, we will get insight into their impression of Patrick and David's relationship, right? Johnny, like, again, Johnny's moment of like, I knew you respected him anyway, kind of thing. Moira talking about them being such good grapes. And then and then Alexis at the end with the like, it's like my two brothers who kiss, which I think is like the perfect relationship to have with your like in-law sibling in-law, right? Is like that they are just like another sibling. And I think that is just such a funny but also so sweet moment that then like Patrick and David lean into, and like Patrick teasing Alexis to me is just it's so perfect. I think it's so lovely. And I think that Alexis, despite the fact that she is being given a hard time, also really loves it. So it's very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if you're earlier on or a little less comfortable around, your partner's family, I think you maybe do side with the like, oh, come on, David, she didn't know. And you leave it at that and you take Alexis's side. But then he's just like, he just digs in even further. Like, oh, does it make the journey to the gateway that much more meaningful? And she's like, ugh. It's just like, oh, I hate you both. It's really perfect. He's so entrenched in this family now in such a lovely way. It never feels awkward or weird to have him in a solo scene with any of the Roses without David there. And like same thing with like Stevie, right? Like he's actually friends with Stevie. You could see them hanging out, chatting. David doesn't have to necessarily be there. And it's just so lovely. Patrick fits into this family so perfectly. And I love that he's not afraid to like throw some jabs in as well. Yeah. It's great.
Stuart, so I'm really behind in listening to the podcast, unfortunately, which is every now and then results in me sending very random messages of like references from like 4 seasons ago.
Context?
Yeah, no, you don't get context. You just get my like very random reaction 2 years later. But I recently listened to the episode where Patrick is first introduced with JD, which, by the way, shout out JD, all-time guest. So fun to listen to. But I loved the like moment where Stuart's like, so you all have had no chill. I know Patrick is coming back. But I'm just sort of curious in your reflection now that you know who Patrick is as a character and sort of are getting a pretty good sense at this point as to why he's such a beloved character. Like, what are your thoughts on the Patrick character as a whole?
It's interesting. So I kind of think that the character, like if we think of like Patrick as a character that's in a show, has gone through a bit of an arc of like belovedness initially, and then after being embedded, after being established as to like how he integrates with the other characters and the plot and everything that's going forward, we kind of went through a bit of a period where Patrick was getting a fair amount of LVP points. It's a short period, but it happened. And I like the fact that we're coming out of that because I felt like that was somewhat necessary for Patrick to not be this caricature of a knight in shining armor or this like, totally otherworldly kind of like spouse that's comes in that's a bit too good to be true. I kind of like that there's some realness, like there's hostility with Ronnie, and I think that like builds in a kind of like makes Patrick feel a bit more real. As for why he is so beloved, I mean, you all were really, really having no chill, and I can completely understand because he is wonderful. Like he's just the best. Like he comes in here, he like makes David supremely happy. He gets David's quirks. He fits in with the family. He sings lovely songs. He has 2 big friends that he brings along in tiny shirts to possible threesomes. Like he's so cool.
He wears blue shirts all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely get why everyone had no chill over this.
He's got that donk with a K, donk.
I mean, you could have the other thing as well. We haven't seen it yet, but like he's just a fantastic addition to it. And I really do kind of feel that without Patrick, I certainly don't think, I mean, the season was already kind of like getting towards being on a high. I don't think it would quite reach the same level without him. Same with a lot of the supporting kind of like characters as well. Like without the likes of Stevie, without the likes of like even Roland and Jocelyn, like without these supporting characters, they can't sing as well at all because otherwise it's really one note. Like you have to have like the whole mixture of everything for it to kind of really sound great. So yeah, I think that Patrick is just a wonderful addition. I wish we didn't have to wait so long for him to turn up. I kind of wish we had him from day one, but then it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I think the thing that I really love about David and Patrick's relationship is that it's not like David as a character is so obviously a lot of the time, and yet it's not, Patrick is not seen as like the counterpoint of like, oh, look at Pat, like you said, like this, white knight who will deal with all of David's like eccentricities. It's the fact that, first of all, he loves them for, like, that is part of the David's charm, that he loves is all of that. But it's also this like back and forth between the two of them. It feels very equal. Like even from the very beginning, when David is teasing Patrick about the frame and he's like, okay, so I'll be making the creative decisions, right? It's like, okay, that business is founded on both of them having different but complementary skill sets. And it's not that it, you know, David has this like flight of fancy and Patrick's the one that's actually grounding it and making it work. It's like, no, the business wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for David's original idea and creative vision and like ability to kind of put, you know, create that collection. And so I think that it's such a lovely dynamic to watch that is both comedic but never like at the expense of either of them, right? Like,
yeah,
and so
like
anyway,
I don't ever
like,
feel like David is ever like snuffed in terms of like his light of like who he is as a character, like all the eccentricities and stuff. Patrick doesn't come in and get David to change to be more accepted or anything like that. David is more accepted because Patrick like takes David for who David is and loves David for who he is. And I think that if anyone, again, we often kind of compare this to like, oh, if it were in lesser hands with the writing and if it was in like another sitcom that was a bit like kind of didn't have quite this sense of quality, how poorly it would probably be handled if you introduced a love interest for David who comes in and David starts, you know, conforming, starts dressing normally, or at least starts having fewer meltdowns over small things and having these kind of weird quirks. And I would hate that because it's an absolute betrayal of David's character. Like the whole premise of David's character, particularly with the wine analogy, is David knows who David is and is not going to compromise for anyone that comes along. Patrick comes along and goes, I like that as it is. I want to be with that as a concept of a person. And yeah, I love the fact that neither have changed each other. They've just found a good jigsaw that fits together. Like,
yeah,
nice.
They produce beautiful wine together.
They do.
Moira's analogies, to jump a little bit to Moira and David's storyline, are perfect. I love that it takes, you know, Moira and David, to Moira's point, haven't had a ton of one-on-one time. You know, he's been busy building an empire with Rose Apothecary and she's been off doing the Crows movie. And I love that they have this moment to sit down and drink some horrible wine together, and that Moira is able to kind of have a sloppier version of like the conversation Johnny and Patrick have to an extent, but like similarly heartfelt, where she says, you and Patrick are two good grapes, different notes, different tannins, but together you've managed to make one perfect blend. And then she wants to impart a slice of marital sagacity, which is that she says her and David are potent grapes. And that there's a lot of your father in Patrick, and David's like, oh, that which wording, okay. Just because their notes are subtle doesn't mean they require any less attention. And I love that. I deeply connect with what Moira is saying here as someone who fancies themselves somewhat of a David or a Moira who is married to a Patrick Johnny sort of character. That
You're
like
a potent grape, are you?
I am a potent grape.
I think it tracks. I think Will is probably, and I mean this with all love in my heart, one of the most Johnny coded people I know.
He loves. There's a reason he loves Johnny. And yeah, it's really lovely that she can kind of recognize that and give David some advice of like, you know, yes, what she's saying is sometimes ridiculous, and the phrasing and the way she says things is a little eccentric, but she has been married for over 40 years. Yeah. That doesn't just happen by accident, you know, like you do, not that your relationship should be like insanely hard work. It's not labor, but like, yeah, there's effort that is required. And I love that Moira, while giving him a little bit of advice, is mostly just saying, like, is honestly kind of cheers, like, cheers to you and Patrick and like the lovely marriage that you are going to have together. I think it's really lovely to have her give that message couched in wine metaphors while getting just pissed drunk at Herb Ertlinger's winery on like the shittiest wine. Like these flavors, the radish conversation sent me over the
Sounds
edge.
refreshing.
I said radish.
It's so funny. And Herb is like, it's so funny when you rewatch the episode because he's so excited at the very beginning when they first show up. He's like so jazzed. He's like, listen, I know the original campaign didn't necessarily go where we wanted it to, but we love the Crows movie. We're really excited for you to be here. And at the end, he's like, get out.
Yeah. You know, spines liquidate in the presence of success. Also an amazing line in this episode.
I mean, his so absolutely did. I'm sorry, but like, how can you be an hour late to dinner reservations just because people are like getting pissed in your like winery? Like, surely an hour and a half ago you went, all right, I'm gonna need a decision or we're gonna have to wrap this up, guys. I'm really sorry, I love you, but like maybe we can schedule a second one. Herb is to blame for entirely all of this scenario
and
like,
making crappy wine.
Well, there's that as well. Like,
I don't know how you screw up
you
fruit
make such
wine.
bad wine.
I don't know, because every fruit wine I've ever had is delicious. Like there's a if anyone's ever in the interior of BC, Summerland Sweets, shout out. Great fruit winery / ice cream.
We're not sponsored,
shop.
but we could be.
Yeah. But it's I like know the family that owns it, and they it's oh gosh, it's so good. Like I would buy their raspberry wine and then put it on vanilla ice cream, and it's so like I had to remind myself that it was alcoholic because I would drink it like juice. It is so good.
Yeah, the fact that they're like Moira mistakes the strawberry peach for banana, that David refers to it as laundry detergent, that Moira says she's getting notes of tomato. Like, what is he doing here? Like, and I love the way the glasses multiply across the table as the scenes progress. It's just that they're blending them. It's everything. I love it so much.
I had to note though that when they did finally find the acceptable blend, that I was tracking it on the second watch to see whether David did pick it back up and just retaste it.
Yeah.
Didn't pick it back up. It just picked up every other one but that one. And I was like, well, of course they're all awful. There's the one that was acceptable. But then Moira would just be like, did it oxidize?
Yeah. But I also
love
that one potable.
They're like randomly blending these wines and expecting that Herb will in some way be able to like recreate this like rando combo that they've been making. Like,
if he's any quality of vintner that he is purportedly meant to be, he should be able to do it. He owns this gaff. He should certainly recognize the mixture of his two wines together. I feel like I'm going to be firmly in Moira's column there. Like, just present it to him. I will do the rest. That's what he's there for, right? She's not there to keep track of things and do admin. That's ridiculous. What an assumption.
It's so funny. He's like, he takes it upon himself to call in Johnny and Patrick, who show up, and Moira just shouts, "Our designated grapes!"
Yeah, so good. And then I love, we couldn't find a wine, and Patrick's line of, well, it sort of smells like you found all the wine.
Yeah. It's perfect. And the callback to not being able to get Herb's name right multiple times this episode, of David being like, now is it Herb? Like, as they say with Herb, or is it Herb? Like, it's just...
Herbert.
It's Herb because there's a effing H in it.
It's
Thank you.
Funny. Yeah. It's so funny. He's like, you couldn't find any of them. I said radish.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love it. I like it also. I don't know. There's something about this, about like it's, and I know they're all kind of family here, but it's giving the vibe of like you go get just a smidge too drunk with like your friends or someone else, and then your significant other has to come in and drive you home. It's like they have to be like, now I assume your keys are in your purse. Okay, come on.
There is something to getting day drunk and getting picked up like by someone that's sober. Like there's something about it. You feel very cared for. You feel very loved. You're like, oh, you sacrificed your early evening to pick me up. I've been drinking since brunch, and then you just stumble in, and then you forget everything that evening.
I have a memory of getting together with friends to play frisbee kind of early-ish in the day, and then we went for lunch, and then we just started drinking, and so like eventually we were like, let's go for like late night Chinese food, and so we went, only to sort of realize that it was 8 and there were just a lot of families going for dinner at a very appropriate dinner time, and we were loud and
like
obnoxious
late night Chinese food.
we were treating it like 2 a.m. Chinese food, and it was like, man, we were awful. But yeah, just that contrast of where you're at in the day versus where everybody else is at in the day is so funny.
I think everyone's been there at some point and like absolutely making an absolute fool of themselves at the wrong timeline. Yeah, there's something about that. With like, I think as well, like if you've ever been in that situation where you just look around and you go, wait a minute, there's a lot of families here.
Oh, I just love it. It's so sweet. It's so funny. Like watching, they both are doing an excellent job also of acting drunk. I think like the slurring and just all of it is so good.
This is the kind of thing that I've said a few times, is that whenever they kind of like have these scenes, I want the stuff that made it onto the cutting room floor, because I know it's gold. Like I know there's so much improv going on that they are probably just throwing out lines. Like I imagine Catherine O'Hara was a tour de force for this episode. Like I can't imagine acting as Moira drunk is not going to be comedy gold no matter what. So
it's definitely on YouTube somewhere. They were putting out
I told myself that after we're done, I'm seeking out like bloopers and God knows what, because I know that they're going to be quality. I have to find them. They must exist. Dan Levy, if you're listening, you're not listening, but if you're listening, send them to me.
DM us. We'll get them. You know,
DM us. Us. We know you. We know you.
I want to talk about Alexis joining a cult. Because at first glance, you're like, Alexis would be able to recognize a cult. Like, I love that the show shouts it out, that she's just like, this isn't the fun kind of cult.
You
go to India and follow a guy with long hair. A long-haired sexy man. Two things in this storyline that I particularly love is the fact that Alexis is the one that sort of figures it out, that she's not just, getting kind of wrapped up in the whole thing, that she, I think, has a bit more self-confidence to be able to be like, wait a second, this is not, I was so excited for this, work and kind of ignored all the signs, but she's the one that kind of pieces it together. Not that it's not incredibly obvious, but, and then the fact that Twyla is like, oh yeah, obviously, but I was supporting your career. It's just so sweet.
I love Twyla so much for that, because as well, like she's like, "Oh, you didn't know?" Like,
my mom tried to take me to the Gateway multiple times or something. As she puts it.
Oh, but she's still giving the sales pitch for like the cassette tapes to the player at the same speed, because it's like pure cult nonsense that they would say to get you to buy more stuff. Twyla's the best.
She's just so supportive. And I love that after they're all working out, like they're all exhausted, they're like, yeah, okay, sign me up, I'm in. Jocelyn filling out paperwork with her social security number on it. I literally was like, I'm watching Alexis as she pulls the paper away from Jocelyn and throws it on the floor. I'm like, shred it. It has her social security number on it. Like I can't, I've always, especially we watched a movie recently, Thelma. It has June something, an older woman actor who's so funny, June Squibb. There's a movie called Thelma that's like it's very much like a parody of like action movies, like car movies as I would call them, where Thelma, she's an older like 80s, 90s-year-old woman, gets scammed, gets the whole like, this is your grandson, I'm in jail, you need to mail cash to this address to get me out. she gets scammed and she wants to take it into her own hands and go get her money back. And it is like it's very funny. Check it out. It's pretty funny. But it's reminiscent of that, where it's just like, it's just like you're watching it happen and you're like, no, don't do it. Don't mail the cash. Don't do it. That's not your grandson. But yeah, I don't know. Just Jocelyn and her Lulu Limes. I can't. I love it.
Of course, this is I think the saddest thing about this is that everyone seems to get that it's a cult except for Jocelyn, maybe Ronnie, but I think Ronnie's just too dehydrated to realize. Like, I think Ronnie, like, I don't know, saw a vision of like an afterlife or something, because Ronnie seemed to have an out-of-body experience after that. But like, everyone is there skeptical and just going along with it to be lovely to Alexis, whereas Jocelyn is literally like signing over her second mortgage on the house, like to hand over to these people. Is that forgivable? Like, I kind of like, people fall for these things all the time. Like, and it seems to be like, I've come to the understanding that it's not something to blame the individual for, because they're getting like more and more sophisticated. And sometimes like people just catch you off guard. They pencil in, like needle in on your vulnerabilities, and everyone has these vulnerabilities. Jocelyn's just seems to be from like a really pretty guy that's giving her like a he's called Citrus. Red flags, surely. Like,
what's worse, Stuart? Citrus or Tallahassee or Tennessee, whatever that girl's name was?
Oh, Tallahassee still. Like, it angers me to this day. Association with Mutt, like, as well as that. At least this guy's grifting. Like, he's got a job. Like, what's Mutt doing? Tackling the cones.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Cones. Yeah. So this is funny. They're all wearing like beige too. And like they basically are on like what, step machines? Is that what those are?
Yeah, they're like Stairmasters.
Really flimsy ones as well. Like, the budget was not here to get like half decent ones to make this seem good. They were like rocking all over the place. I was like, the budget,
are you ready to elevate yourself? Are you ready to elevate your lives? All your troubles, all your worries, we're gonna elevate above them.
I mean, because the problem is, you go to an Orange Theory class and you tell me the differences. Other than the outfits, what's the difference here?
Orange Theory?
Oh, do you not have Orange? It's like cycle classes. I've never actually been, but it's like,
yeah. I was going to say like probably a similar thing then is that my friend Jess, like way back in the day, she used to go to Barry's boot camp, and it was only like, I think like 1 or 2 in London open. Now it's like some huge brand, whatever. But she used to go and she'd be there, and she'd be like, all sorts of celebrities are in these like cycle classes with her and stuff like that. And she'd be like, I'm just here to get the best workout ever. And she used to just talk about how the instructors would be like delivering sermons almost in terms of like what they were like delivering to them. And I remember one just being so funny of just, everyone reach up into the air and pull down that positive mental attitude. And it's stuck with me ever since, being the most cringe thing ever.
Yeah. So I don't blame Alexis for like not totally getting it at first. I think the outfits are like the biggest giveaway, but you know, and then at this point where she's like, okay, so you said demons a lot, and he's like, well, yeah, but also actual demons, and is the gateway like a symbol? And he's like, yeah, but also a literal gateway, and she's like, okay, yeah. And that's when she's really for sure
funny.
I will say, like, the show doesn't tend to lean into visual gags all too often, but the exit sign with the arrow pointing up was the funniest thing they've delivered like for just a quick cut in a long time. I was like, this is ridiculous. It's just such a thing. And Steve's like, I think I saw an actual one in the like changing rooms, and they just shuffle, and then Alexis does the whole like
the little like prance out the door. I know. Oh my gosh.
It's so good. I also I feel like Alexis was told she had to elevate her ponytail as well. That like I don't know. It would like that was just part of it. It was a very high sports pony. That would have given me an instant headache. That sports pony.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like at times it was almost like weighing her down, because she was constantly doing like this, like arching her head up and looking up at Citrus a little bit, to the point where I think she was actually crouching to do so, because like Annie Murphy doesn't strike me as being particularly short or anything, having to look up. So she was constantly kind of like angling herself really weirdly. She was, doing that kind of awkward contortedness that she does when she's quite clearly a little kind of anxious about something, and then when she clarifies, and then just the looks. Again, Annie Murphy delivering a tour de force of like physical comedy with just the reactions, just like the facial expressions alone, hilarious.
It was just so cute. And I love that it all comes back in the final scene with Johnny being the first one. Oh, spending time together isn't so bad because we're going to lose Alexis to the gateway.
Yeah.
It's just, and I love Moira. I like sleepovers. Just like, and again, we've seen a little bit of this before where like Moira like snuggles in, but season 1 Moira would never, like absolutely would never. And the fact that she's like wanting to cuddle Alexis and Alexis is like, ew, like get away. It's just perfect.
But secretly Alexis loves it, right?
Yeah.
You gotta think that like she's
the closeness of this family unit and like all of these individual relationships between them, but then also their connection to the broader Schitt's Creek community that you can see now in season 6 is just so lovely to reflect on like how far this family has grown in that time. And I think that is probably like, if you were to summarize Schitt's, like the overall story of Schitt's Creek in like one sentence, it's that, right? It's like the forming of all of these relationships that are really impactful from this family that was very disconnected. You know, they sort of found that the relationships they thought they had weren't there when they went through a hard time, and they weren't even there with each other really all that well. And so I think that has been just such a beautiful arc, and I think is like the main thing about this story that is so lovely.
Yeah, I think the more and more that this show goes on with having these really sentimental moments, the more and more I have an appreciation for Merry Christmas, Johnny Rose, because seeing that change while also kind of being embedded in knowing who these characters are and seeing how distant they actually were back then from each other, and really like Johnny longing for this family unit, and like Moira being totally disconnected from it, like going to bed early and like having to like take drugs to go to sleep and stuff. Alexis flying off, David going who knows where, and then just being 4 individuals that happened to share a last name and a bank account, whereas now they're a family. And to see that change, and to see not only that they've grown together, but how much they appreciate it as well. Like Alexis was going to get homesick because of this whole like situation, because like she's gonna miss them. Like you can sense like the fact that they could have stayed anywhere really while they're taking a wall out to install a Japanese toilet at Patrick's apartment. They could have like asked Stevie to crash there. They could have crashed at Ted's place, which is empty. Alexis could be staying at Ted's place, which is empty, and yet they all choose to go back there. I think says a lot. Possibly could just be a simple writing choice to have a really funny scene together.
No, they love each other. They love each other.
Yeah. I had the same thought that like in a different world, Alexis would have been like, okay, well, if Patrick's going to stay here, I'll go stay somewhere. And she didn't do that. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
So cute. Okay, are we ready to do some ratings? Because we have to give out some Simply the Best points and some disgruntled Pelican points. I feel like this is a competitive one. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
I feel like my top 2 for Simply the Best, and there's a lot of people that could get points, but I feel like my top 2 are number 1, Moira. I think because of the comedy plus heartwarming, right? We get this like she's hysterical when like drinking all these wines, but also being like, giving some nice advice and some lovely sentiments to David. I think she is up there for me. I also think Johnny is up there. I think because I like, it's hard to say between Johnny and Patrick who earns the point more. I think Johnny makes the first move, for lack of a better term, in terms of like sitting down and wanting to bond with Patrick. Patrick is also super gracious and like pulls him in rather than like us like, brushing aside this conversation. So it's really hard to choose between those two as well. Like all 3 of them, right? All 3 of these characters could earn one. Will's gonna be so mad because like he was already mad. I don't remember why, but he was already mad I didn't give Johnny a point in a different episode. I think what he say? He was whining to me about it yesterday. Like, oh, well, you always take points away from Johnny, but when you give him points, 2 of you don't ever give him points. Just one of you does.
You know
He
what can
loves him
fix that,
so
Will?
much.
Johnny can be better.
Yeah,
Johnny
be
can step
better.
up.
Oh,
Can we all
I
give
don't
Will
know.
a point for this episode? Shout out, Will.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, it's really tough. Can one of you sway me? I just don't know what to do. I think 3 of them deserve points, and it's really hard to pick and choose who.
I mean, I could try and sway you, or I could introduce a 4th contender.
Oh no, who's the 4th
interesting.
contender?
I genuinely, and like, yeah, it's slightly for the bit, but I genuinely think there's a case for Roland. Because without him, the whole conversation wouldn't have happened. And he had this weird, like, guardian angel janitor vibe of like walking off down the hallway. Like, if Roland
And
had
he's a
faded
ghost
away
all
in
along.
that moment, yeah, exactly. I would have been like,
Yeah, but also the way he says it is laying down the law.
Yeah,
still
I think-
Roland.
I think he just ruins it a little bit like immediately. I absolutely will give him credit for being the one to push it, and I do think it's coming from a lovely place of like, hey, you should tell Patrick how you feel, because that's a lovely thing for someone to hear and for him to know that you feel that way about him. But yeah, he does sort of immediately make it weird and rollify. And the whole point is he's like, yeah, was spying in the room and saw Patrick on the bed, whatever.
Yeah. In that case, then oh no, you go.
Oh, I thought maybe I do think like there's an argument for Alexis. There's an argument for Twyla. I think both also have really lovely episodes. So I think it's really hard. I think there's lots of them that I would be happy to give it to this episode.
Yeah, I was going to jump in on the Twyla. I was like, Twyla went along with it, knowing it was a cult and as a supportive queen, she bought so much crap.
So many cassette tapes.
Yeah.
I mean, like even Ronnie to an extent buying like 5 hydration bottles. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand the Why do you just buy a water bottle?
Because this is special. Like this one's gonna open the gateway. Jess, like it's just you gotta buy it. You don't get like deliverance. You don't get the divine unless you pay the money.
I think. I also one other little shout out to Moira of like her and David coming up with like a skit to get David out of having to watch baseball.
So funny.
Oh my god!
Good.
Yes.
But also like Patrick seeing through it immediately,
and she's an actor.
And like the fact that I think the whole thing is that it's supposed to be Patrick's day. I think, Patrick so often defers to David, and so he gets a day. And then the fact that he's like, David, just go. Like the fact that David can't even put up with watching baseball for like an hour. And it's like, no, I don't want to do this. And he lets him go, but then tells them that they should rehearse more next time is so funny.
Yeah, the extraction did feel a bit strained. And then David just turns to her and goes, that was you.
It's so good. It was so good.
Rude.
So yeah, it's really hard to choose, but I think okay, I'm really between Johnny and Moira, but I think where I am ultimately going to land is like, I think I want to give credit to Johnny because having this sort of a conversation can be very awkward, and he is very awkward about it, but he's putting in the effort. He is putting in that effort to bond with Patrick when he doesn't have to do that. I think Moira's words, while extremely lovely and very heartwarming and touching, I think they come more out of like drunken conversation, whereas I feel like Johnny is like really putting in a lot of effort. So I'm going to give Johnny my point, even though it's very tough.
But and it also comes with the added benefit of a happy home life, right, Jess?
Exactly.
Let me tell you, no small part. Part. Yeah.
But I do love the way that Johnny does it, because you're right. Like a lesser show would have absolutely made it that I don't know, he's just being awkward about it, or he's just trying to like lay down the law or something. I don't know. But just the line, because like I wrote it down of like, I hope you'll treat him with respect, which you said you would. And I already knew it. Like that, just the I already knew it at the end is so sweet. And it just absolutely tugs at my heartstrings. Just the way that Eugene Levy delivers that line, I think is so sweet.
Who are you going to go with then, Melissa? Because I feel like I need to do a tactical vote here. You're going with it?
I was thinking tactically too. I was like, if you guys pick 2 different people, then I can pick a third one that I also love. It's
okay. And that's the thing is like, I'm I really want to give it to like an outsider. I really want to give it to Twyla, but then I feel like one of the three in this whole situation do deserve it. Yeah, I'll give it to Moira. I think I'll give it to Moira because what she does say is so sweet. And also, I like to like not just award them for like good deeds in the show. Like I want to award them for like who makes me laugh, who has like a good story. And again, full circle with Bert Herflinger and all of that stuff. I think really good as well. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll give mine to Moira then, if that helps you at all, Melissa.
Yeah, that's perfect. My first thought when I finished the episode was Patrick, so I'm going to go with that because I do think that like that conversation with Johnny, yes, Johnny initiates it, but Patrick is the grown-up in the room who can actually make it happen. And I think that he is so sweet in terms of like broaching that conversation and bringing it up and being inviting to Johnny, but also his like letting David off the hook for the day that he's like so obviously miserable on, I think is kind of huge of him, right? I think if it was me and I was promised a day and my significant other was like miserable, I'd kind of be like, too bad. This is my day. You have to sit through it. And so
I do think I would be a Patrick where I'm like, if you're just going to crap on it, then just go, please. Like, I'll be by myself.
Yeah. Big same. Like I think everyone must have been in that situation where you're excited to spend time with someone and watch something that you're interested in, but when they're not interested in what you've chosen to watch, you're like, well, piss off then. Go elsewhere. Like, I love this more than I do you in this moment. Go away. I'll see you later.
Okay, let's move on to our disgruntled pelican point. I feel like, because like at first I'm like, okay, Alexis brings people to a cult, which isn't great. But here's the thing. Oftentimes we're like, we have to stick to the core cast unless someone comes in who is like so egregiously awful, like Bev and Don Taylor, like a Tennessee Tallahassee, like a freaking Emir, right? Like we like Claire with a K. We have given exceptions to like giving disgruntled pelican points to like one-off characters. I feel like there is no better embodiment of a side character who should get negative points than a cult leader named Citrus. Like
I feel like that's a really, I mean, I do feel like it's taking a very difficult decision away from us, which I'm quite thankful for. We are in good.
Well, because who's that bad? Who's that bad?
Jocelyn, she was going to hand over her social security number. And I know I said earlier that we shouldn't blame victims.
But we can't give negative points to Jocelyn. We can't do it. People will riot.
I mean, they do riot. But I don't know, like, you shouldn't blame victims for this. Like I said, they do needle in at people's vulnerabilities, and everyone has vulnerabilities.
She was going to bring her baby to a cult, too.
She was going to bring her baby to a cult, and she was going to hand over her social security number. I think that's egregious, and especially considering the warning signs were, like, already taking over. And Alexis had gotten over the monetary kind of incentive to overlook a lot of stuff, and finally arrived at that. Whereas Jocelyn was, like, fully, like, going down that route. I think there's a case to keep it in the family, so to speak. We could give a point to Jocelyn. But in saying that, if we are including Citrus, I feel that that's a really good get out of jail free card and makes the audience not get really mad at us.
What do you think, Melissa? What do you think?
Do people really get mad at you if you take points from Jocelyn?
No. We had
mostly
one
a joke. One person got mad.
One person one time? Okay, great.
One person one time was real mad because I can't remember. I gave her negative points for something and I was really mad at her. And it was probably something fairly minor, but she pissed me off so much.
It was very early on when Jocelyn was very lovely and was like nice as pie.
And I was like, get out of here, Jocelyn.
Really, the surface tension broke with
post baby Jocelyn has just like
pre-baby Jocelyn, like
pregnant Jocelyn. That's where it all started.
The other option on the table in my mind is the guy who can't manage to make a good fruit wine, which feels like the biggest L of the episode
as well.
Yeah, he is a returning character. Ooh, I like this.
But can we get his name right? He can only get the point if we get his name right. Herflinger.
Banana wine is just such a bad choice.
I'm
I'm good with any of these choices. Honestly, they all are terrible. I don't know. Stuart, what do you want to do? Are we gonna save Jocelyn from getting negative points by going with someone else? Because she's the pick.
Yeah.
Ronnie's supportive. Twyla's supportive. Stevie expresses concern.
Calls it from the start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As Stevie tends to do. Yeah, I'm going to take Melissa's out here. I'm going to go with Herb, whoever it is. The Vintner. Yeah, he is absolutely getting the point. Because, I mean, for one thing, he can't produce good wine. And I'm sorry. How can you fuck up wine? Wine's lovely.
How can you mess it up? It's really bad, especially fruit wine. Banana.
How do they know her?
It's so rare that we allow ourselves those on the podcast.
I think when you shout at them aloud.
Oh, okay. Then you'd think there'd be more of them. Okay. Let's move on to the wig watch because we did get a wig from Moira. She's in this like black and gold ensemble. I don't care for the black wig with bangs, Stuart. I don't care for it.
It's a little boring. It's very business. You can see what she's going for, right? She's there to make a deal. She's there to sign an endorsement.
I'm Moira, the business bitch.
Yeah.
She's going for.
If this was a category on RuPaul's Drag Race, it'll be executive realness. Like this is exactly what she's giving.
Executive realness, yes. Yeah, I don't know. Melissa, do you have a favorite?
Black jacket too much, unfortunately. So
it's lost. Yeah, it gets lost.
Yeah.
I miss the green wigs. I miss when she would just go for it. This is boring.
I miss the crazy like curly ones, like the
big
giant ones.
The bigger the better.
Yeah.
It needs more volume. Yeah.
What is it they say? The bigger the wig, the closer to God, or whatever the heck they say.
Yeah.
They do now, if not.
They do now. Yeah.
The bigger the hair,
the closer to God. It's like a Southern thing, Southern U.S. thing. Yeah. All right, let's go and do our tier rankings. As always, hot shit, full bouquet, love that journey for me. Ew, David, and shit out of luck. I know where I'm feeling like this episode belongs, Stuart, but where do you think this episode belongs?
Like I said, on first watch, I wasn't down on the episode. I just wasn't extremely high on it. On second watch, I'm thinking hot shit. Like, really, on reflection, I'm like, I think it's up there. I don't think it's quite as good as the last episode, though. I thought the last episode was hilarious. And given that we really struggled between 5 and 6 and we ultimately decided where we are, I'm leaning lower than that. But yeah, I'm being excited to see what the both of you think.
What do you think, Melissa?
I mean, I definitely think hot shit just for like the sheer amount of funny moments and sheer amount of heartwarming moments. Like the fact that it does both so many. Like I don't normally like take a lot of notes for this podcast when I'm guesting on it. And I wrote down so many lines that I wanted to make sure we talked about in this episode because there were just so many that were either wonderful in terms of how sweet they were or hilarious.
Yeah. There's no way this is going anywhere but hot shit. I think we get not only one but two heartwarming moments, like between two different pairs. The comedy of David and Moira at the winery is unmatched, and honestly, I like having a smaller C plot with Alexis and all of the Jazzagals is also just really fun. And that sweet moment with Twyla as well. I just want to be supportive. She's great. I would argue, I mean, if it were just me, Stuart, I'd be putting this literally all the way at the top because I love this episode just so much. But I know you love the wingman, so I'm happy to put it behind there. As long as it's in hot shit, I don't care because I just think this is a classic for me. This is one where I see the name, I know exactly what episode it is, and I am like so jazzed to watch it because it's just so good. It's just so fun.
I think the last three, I think they're all on the same level for me. Like it really is like kind of, we're talking like a hair's length of difference between them. They're all,
and look at that, we really jumped up because we started off with 4 episodes in a row.
Oh yeah,
love that journey for me, and now boom, last 3 all in hot shit.
I was worried starting this season because I was
why does everybody say it gets better and better
and better? And I was like, oh yeah, there had to be a point where I realized everyone lies to me. And this would be it. And I would come away from this podcast sad.
Would I ever steer you wrong? Would I ever listen? I pride myself on my recommendations. Okay, I don't give out TV recommendations lightly. They are very intentional. And I say what I mean about television. And when I say Schitt's Creek just gets better and better, I mean it. So there. Stuart, what do you have to say to that?
I have nothing to say about that because I am currently subject to a recommendation that you've given me, and I'm currently demolishing my way through it. So yeah, I can't. If I did say anything otherwise, you would just shout at me and correct me on a public forum where other people can also see my shame.
Yeah, it's not like you've binged like, I don't know, 10 to 20 hours of a show that I recommended within the past like 48 hours. Definitely not.
It's longer than 48 hours. It's been 5 days. It's been 5 days.
Yeah, and how many Survivor seasons have you watched, Stuart?
Call him out.
Stuart,
it's been wonderful, everyone listening to this podcast. If you want to put in your recommendations,
I am
reviews,
a day
whatever.
one Survivor watcher, like day one, and you have watched Survivor that I have not watched in terms of international Survivor.
Outrageous.
Yeah,
Hyperfixation at its finest.
I will say though, everyone, go watch Australia versus the World. It's slamming. It's really good. It's like, who needs 39 days of Survivor when you can have 16 and have each day be top tier, like good Survivor? Yeah, more of that, please. But yeah.
Anyway, this was so lovely. This was great. I loved this. Oh, Stuart, do you want to hear what the next episode is titled?
Yeah, I would. Otherwise, I can't watch it.
Season 6, Episode 8, The Presidential Suite.
Ooh. New motel. Maybe they're making a special room or something. Maybe, I don't know, decorating, maybe.
I have one more thing before we close it out.
Yes.
So Johnny has a line when he's talking like an alien who's never had pizza before.
Zah.
Love a regular crust. Cheese, tomato sauce, bread. Can't beat that combination. So if you were to FML cheese, tomato sauce, and bread.
Okay. Wait, bread, tomato sauce, and then cheese. Those are our options.
Yeah,
I'm killing tomato sauce just so easily. Killing tomato sauce.
Easy, done.
Yeah. The problem is I never understand this query because do I get to fuck the cheese if I also marry the cheese? Or am I just,
it's sort of a short-term fun versus long-time commitment, I think.
I have a lifelong commitment to cheese. I have made vows to cheese that I cannot give up. So I would just, F the bread and marry the cheese.
Yeah.
No, you gotta marry bread. Bread is something precious. Comes in so much more variety than cheese.
There's so many kinds of cheese.
I give up. So many varieties of bread. Like more varieties of bread than there are varieties of cheese. And also I got a shop that's like literally like a stone's throw away from where I live now. And I went there the other day, first thing in the morning, and it was just as the bread came out of the oven. And it was the best bread I've had in so long. There's something special about it. You don't get that warm, fuzzy stuff when warm cheese comes out, do you? No.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Or maybe with
warm
a camembert, but whatever.
Yeah. So many good types of cheese. I love. What about you, Melissa? What do you think?
I mean, I agree with Jess. I big. Despite the fact that sometimes my body is unhappy about cheese, I do love cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Especially
because
like,
my body hates cheese more than it does bread.
Stuart, did you know that in Canada cheese is very expensive? I learned this on a different podcast Melissa did recently, where cheese is very, very expensive in Canada. So it's like a hot commodity.
The dairy lobby is very strong in Canada, so it's very hard. Any dairy product from outside of Canada is very, very expensive. It's like subject to a lot of import tax because the Canadian dairy lobby has a stranglehold, and so cheese is very expensive. Yes.
Is this to do with the whole pasteurization situation?
Yeah.
See?
It all comes back.
To every talking shit episode I've ever done. Yeah.
It all comes back to the milk, baby.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, thank you again, Melissa, for coming onto the podcast. Always a joy to have you here. Why don't you tell everybody else what you have going on? Because I know what you have going on because I'm an avid listener. Hence the shout out to the cheese prices. I know you're always like, we're off tangent. We're on a tangent. I love the tangents. I will listen to a podcast full of just the tangents on science and food specifically are my favorites. Animals always a hot topic. But those 3 specifically are my faves.
Perfect. Yes, well then have we got the podcast for you, Jess. Yeah, I mean, I love the tangent too. I think it's the entire point of listening to podcasts is the side stuff. I just do always find it very funny whenever like a review comes in for any podcast where they're like, they talk about too many and it's like, go away, go. This is not your podcast.
For you.
Go listen to some scripted podcast about some highly researched topic or something. I don't know. That's a vibe. That's a whole thing that you could do. You could go. It's not the podcast that we do. Whirlwind Podcast. We've got lots going on over there. If you're listening to this, maybe you're already familiar with that, but if not, check us out. Adam and I talk Veronica Mars. We are actually very close to the end. We are about to record the season 3 finale podcast of Veronica Mars. We've only got a movie and then like 8 episodes of season 4 left. So we are very, very close to the end. And
it's the movie first. It goes movie then
came
show.
First. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Good thing I didn't. I'm glad I didn't start season 4. Okay, good to know.
No, yeah. You got to watch the movie first because it was a Kickstarter that funded the movie, and then that went so well that then they brought back for season 4, and then like some pretty exciting stuff on the horizon as we get into the kind of autumnal vibes ahead of us. There's a very specific show that people associate with the fall that we will probably cover next, which will still be like 2 months away by the time we're done season 4, but still
fall is just a state of mind.
So if you have listened to me on a whole bunch of podcasts, you probably know what show that is, and if not, stay tuned. Otherwise, we're talking Inside the TARDIS with Kevin and Adam. We are about to watch the most anticipated episode of Doctor Who for me personally. I think in this entire podcast run, because I have not seen it, but I know about it and I cannot wait.
I need to catch up. Okay.
Yeah.
But that on my to-do list.
Just putting that out there as well, that it is, I'm very excited for the next podcast.
Does Stuart know what you're talking about? He looks like he knows what you're talking about.
Spoilers.
Oh, it's because he's British. He just knows Doctor Who.
Yeah. We wake up and it's pumped into our living rooms like immediately. Yeah. Otherwise, we've got all sorts of stuff going on over there. The One Indescribable podcast crew is watching Everwood, which is I'm still debating if I can handle podcast again, because I did not like the show and I don't know if that's good podcasting or not. So they're having a great time over there. We'll see if I make it back. Previously on watching Shameless and Pretty Little Liars, which is always a fun time. Todd and Tommy are talking Gravity Falls, just a delightful duo to check out over there. So yeah, we've got lots going on. I think Zed is coming back on with a new podcast with Todd talking Peacemaker. There's always different stuff popping up over there. So just subscribe to Whirlwind Podcasts and you'll know when stuff shows up.
Awesome. Stuart, anything from you?
No, maybe. Secret Project is still being secret, but is being worked on. You'll probably hear about it hopefully soon. Delightful little deviousness. And yeah, Hyperfixation at the moment, if you haven't already guessed, is the recommendation Jess gave me, which is Dark. I've watched like 2.5 seasons. I'm actively hoping for this episode to finish recording so I can go and watch the rest of it and finish the 3rd season today. But yeah, which is why wibbly wobbly timey wimey. A lot of that going on. So yeah.
Meanwhile, Sarah and I just started Buffy season 5 over on Shit 90 Shows Taught Me, and I have been gaslit. I have been gaslit so much by this show.
No, you haven't. Jess.
Yes, I have, and I'm upset.
Whole time.
I'm so upset about it, and I can't.
Stan Reich of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's very, very upsetting.
The whole time.
So upsetting. So I'm going to be ranting on that podcast. But apparently, people love season 5, so I'm in for a wild ride. Apparently, I can't wait. So yeah, that's where you can check us out. Of course, listen to us every single week. We'll be back next week with season 6, episode 8. And until then, everyone, warmest regards
and best wishes.